Welcome, age of vintage society. We told you when Elvis Presley became a spy for the United States, ironically willing to help against the war against drugs. We also told you when Josephine Baker became a kick-ass spy for France during the Second World War. Now we will tell you how Sterling Hayden, who many knew as the most beautiful man in the movies, or the beautiful blonde Viking god, became a spy. And he wasn't just any type of spy. Picture James Bond, but blonder. This striking actor braved stormy seas, escaped perilous shootouts, and engaged in other life-threatening acts to complete his missions. On the other hand, he was a bankable name at the box office, the eye candy people wanted to see, and the intelligent actor critics loved. The dual life of Sterling Hayden, the most beautiful man's big secret. Before the CIA, there was the Office of Strategy Services, OSS, led by General William Wild Bill Donovan, and filled with members many people referred to as glorious amateurs. The OSS was serious business, as it was America's first centralized intelligence agency, and it was responsible for information collection and analysis. Also, the agency conducted secret paramilitary and unconventional operations, James Bond style. The agency was an essential aspect of the United States war effort, as it helped the United States collect information about the hostile nations against the United States. The OSS also undertook secret operations behind enemy lines, and it was this agency with its hazardous work that Sterling Hayden became a part of. Interestingly, it all began with a chance meeting between General William Wild Bill Donovan, OSS's director, and Sterling Hayden while Hayden was on a sailing trip. When Hayden gave up fame to enlist in the army, he contacted his buddy Wild Bill Donovan to fix him up with the elite commando unit training in Scotland. Despite being a novice, the commando unit took him in. The hunky actor threw himself into his training, but got hurt during a parachute jump. His dream of being part of the unit got cut short due to the injury, and he had to return to the United States of America to recover. After recovering, the actor tried to raise money to buy a sailing ship, but couldn't, so he opted to return to service, and his buddy Donovan recommended that he join the Navy, especially as he loved sailing. Instead, Hayden joined the Marines and got shipped off to the training camp in Parris Island, South Carolina. But the star faced a problem. He had appeared in 2 films for Paramount and had become famous. He felt if the other soldiers knew he was a celebrity, they wouldn't warm up to him. So, when registering as a Marine, Hayden changed his name to John Hamilton and completed his training as a Marine. The actor got recommended for Officer Candidate School. Some reports claimed the actor graduated from the school and became a second lieutenant. Other report claims he didn't attend the school because he wanted to escape from fighting on the front lines. While that bit of his history was unclear, what's certain is that the actor got transferred to Donovan's OSS, and as you would see, the dangers of being an OSS agent were also a lot. So it couldn't have been about avoiding danger. Sterling was responsible for shipping weapons and supplies to areas the enemies occupied in Europe. Also, he helped spy on the enemies, and he helped set up aircrew rescue teams in enemy-controlled areas. The job was dangerous, but it was right up Sterling's alley, as it majorly relied on sailing, and he had a lot of experience in sailing. The actor was always just a few inches from danger, and after successfully running some shipping operations without the enemies knowing, his luck ran out. Hayden was running an operation in Yugoslavia. The operation involved dropping off supplies, contacting future Yugoslavian President Marshal Josip Broz Tito's communist rebels, and doing some reconnaissance on German forces to assess their strengths. Then all of a sudden, his motorboat's engine developed a fault. Hayden and his crew were in their jeep when the Germans spotted them, and a shootout erupted. Hayden and some of the crew members escaped, but the jeep driver couldn't make it. It looked like they wouldn't too. The Germans had occupied the island the actor and the remaining crew members escaped to. All hope was lost, and it seemed Hayden would die. But he was a fighter and completed his mission despite these obstacles. He gave Josip and the rebels the information they needed and got a boat that took him to Italy. Because of his efforts, he got a bronze arrowhead device, a promotion to first lieutenant, earned the respect of Josip and an Order of Merit. However, he wasn't the only thing he got from Josip. He caught a bug that almost cost him his children and landed him in jail. Don't worry, we'll tell you all about it. OK, let's give you a sneak peek. Hayden caught the communism bug from Josip. Yes, the squeaky clean actor, Strong Hayden, was a communist. Sterling Hayden was born as Sterling Relier Walter to George and Frances Walter on March 26, 1916 in Upper Montclair, New Jersey. After his father died, his surname changed to Hayden when James Hayden, his stepfather, adopted him when he was 9. Hayden lived by the sea in the cities he lived in as a child. Some of these cities were Washington, D.C., Massachusetts, Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Maine, and some of the coastal areas of the New England region. The actor attended school but dropped out of high school when he was 16. The sea called to him, and Hayden answered the call with enthusiasm. Immediately after he left high school, the sexy actor got a job as a sailor on a schooner. Along with the remaining crew members, they began sailing from New London, Connecticut, and voyaged to Newport Beach, California. After finishing work as a mate on the schooner, the actor also worked as a fisherman, fishing majorly at the Grand Banks of Newfoundland. Soon he was running a charter yacht and going on more sailing adventures. He worked as a steamer's fireman on different voyages to Cuba. This wouldn't be his last rodeo to the Caribbean. When he got his master's license at 21, he captained a schooner to the Caribbean. Afterward, he worked as a mate when the brigantine Yankee cruised the world. The actor began working on bigger ships as a fireman or a mate, sailing around the world. When he reached 22, he began to captain these ships, captaining the square rigger Florence C. Robinson on a long trip that began from Gloucester, Massachusetts to Tahiti in 1938. That 1938 trip would end up changing his life. Sterling's picture was taken at the beginning of the trip and it made it to the cover of a magazine. Paramount Studio came across the photo and wanted him to join their ranks. They offered a screen test to Sterling Hayden and he took it. However, he had a different reason entirely for wanting the test. Hayden only wanted to buy a schooner, and to do that he needed $5,000, which he felt acting could easily provide for him. He passed the screen test, and Paramount put him on a standard contract for their newest editions. Hayden was on a 7-year contract and would earn $250 weekly. It was a lot of money for him, and he went crazy with how he spent it for a short period. The actor got a car and drove Frances, his mother, to California. "This is nuts, but damned it's pleasant," the chiseled actor said about his experience. He went into the screen test not knowing what to do, so coming out with that kind of contract was shocking to him. But he was just getting started, and as he did, he wanted to end it. Paramount went on a campaign for their new beefcake. With his blonde hair, 6'5" height, and muscular physique, they called him the beautiful blonde Viking god. They also called him the most beautiful man in the movies. To play to his image, Paramount put their star in Virginia, where he starred alongside Madeleine Carroll, the woman he later married. The pair also appeared together in Bahama Passage. After the Bahama Passage, just a year after having an acting career, Hayden had enough of the glitter of Hollywood. He longed for the sea. "I'm no actor, I'm a sailor," he said as he broke his contract and enlisted in the army. It was his enlistment that doomed his marriage, as he and Madeleine didn't spend time with each other for long before he went off to train for the war. It was after his service that he became a communist and was a member of the Communist Party for 6 months. His encounter with Yugoslavian rebels during one of his operations led him to fall in love with communism, and during the time he was a member, Hayden was active. In those 6 months he tried to help the motion picture unions, which the communists used to absorb other associations in the film industry. The actor returned to Hollywood after World War II and this time was ready to commit to being an actor. He said, "I feel a real obligation to make this a better country, and I believe the movies are the place to do it." He married his second wife, Betty DeNoon, and would go on to have 4 children with her. Sterling returned to Paramount and the studio put him in Blaze of Noon, a film that revolved around planes. However, he soon got into trouble with the studio and they suspended him when he refused to be part of the studio's The Sainted Sisters, a comedy film. The film was a resounding failure and critics panned Paramount for miscasting the lead actress in a role that didn't suit her. The actor's career picked up again when John Huston cast him in the MGM heist thriller film The Asphalt Jungle, where he played a thug. The film wasn't a hit, but that actor's reputation as a skilled actor rose with how critics praised his performance in the movie. He also tested his range as a religious man struggling with his faith in Journey into Light. The actor was making significant progress. However, everything came crashing down before his eyes. The authorities came for him. They knew he had associations with the Communist Party, and what's worse, he was having marital troubles. Betty and the actor were in court, and things were getting heated up considering the custody of their children. Officials questioned him and asked him to testify before the House Committee on Un-American Activities about his temporary membership of the Communist Party, and give up the names of the other celebrities there with him. They told him that if he didn't cooperate, he would lose the custody of his children and would also go to prison. Not wanting to become what the officials regarded as an unfriendly witness, Hayden sang like a canary. He mentioned names and gave details. He confessed he had left the party and returned when Karen Morley persuaded him. The officials tested Hayden with what they did. According to Betty, the officials already knew who the members of the Communist Party were, and what they did was to confirm where Hayden's allegiance lay. The actor admitted that communism had duped him, although in the future he denounced his cooperation with the House Committee on Un-American Activities. The actor regretted his decision to cooperate with them for the rest of his life. While that period of the actor's life was chaotic, there was a silver lining in it. The burly actor got custody of his children and more iconic movie roles. He was among the cast of Johnny Guitar, a Western film that Nick Ray directed. The movie was a hit and gained a cult following. Also, the actor was a leading man in Naked Alibi, where he starred alongside the delectable Gloria Graham. The film was a film noir where Sterling and Gloria had a scandalous relationship, and it ended in a tragedy for their two characters. Hayden also got cast in The Killing, which Stanley Kubrick directed. The film was one of Stanley's earliest films, but it turned out to be an audience favourite and a classic. The actor would later appear in another of Kubrick's films, Dr. Strangelove, where he played General Jack D. Ripper, the crazy Air Force general that caused a nuclear Armageddon. When the actor had the chance, he began to feature on television shows like Celebrity Playhouse, but his life didn't revolve around his acting career. Despite all the talk of movies being a way to improve America, the actor didn't like his career choice. He was only in it for the money and didn't spend it on luxury. He used it to maintain his ships and finance his sailing activities. So, when the opportunity came for him to drop everything and jump on a ship, he usually took it. On one of those trips he didn't sail alone. The star took his kids with him on a sailing trip, even when a court order forbade him from doing it. Hayden was a stubborn man. The actor claimed it was either he went on that trip with his children or harm himself. While the actor didn't say it, it seemed he dealt with an intense feeling of guilt, as he described himself as a sellout. Also, he called himself a failure, which was a weird description for an actor who had appeared in iconic movies as he did. The star and his family began the trip in San Francisco Bay aboard his schooner, the Wanderer. They set out for Tahiti, where the actor planned to shoot a film. Sterling took a renowned photographer, Dodie Weston Thompson, to help take pictures of his adventure and also advise him on the best places in Tahiti for a film. Hayden's photographer took pictures of the schooner, artifacts they found on the Tahitian beaches, his children, and the Tahitians. Eventually, his film didn't work out, but Dodie got nice pictures of the adventure, which he published in the US Camera and Travel. However, Hayden was in trouble. The trip cost him money, and get this, he wasn't the owner of the money. He got around $50,000 from Republic Pictures, and when he took the money from the studio, he told them he needed it for a film, and by not making the film, he was in breach of the contract he had with them. Just like that, Hayden was in another big mess, and it got to the court. Republic Pictures was keen to get its money back and sued Hayden. The Marin County Superior Court Judge, Harold Haley, found against the actor and ordered him to repay the $50,000. The star married again for the third time and remained with his third wife, Catherine Devine McConnell, with whom he had 2 children for the rest of his life. After living such an adventurous life, he died of prostate cancer in his 70s. But we've got another thrilling tale lined up for you. In our next video, we'll unravel the enigma of how Peter Cushing mastered the art of suspension, captivating audiences with his unparalleled skill. Click on this video.